I'm nervous. Let's welcome Lauren Shoepfer to the show. Lauren is a portrait, wedding, and event photographer based in Central Florida, serving the globe. She started her business in 2019 after realizing how fun and fulfilling it is to capture all kinds of people and the moments that mean the most to them. She seeks to empower everyone who steps in front of her lens and is just an overall talented photographer and great person I'm lucky enough to call a friend. Everyone, it's Lauren. Woo!
Aw, that was a great intro. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show to talk about diversity and inclusivity in photography. And we actually met in a Facebook comment section back in the day where this was a topic. So I'm excited to talk about this with you. Hi, Lauren.
Hi. It is a kind of a full circle moment. I'm honored that you asked me to do this because this is like super important topic and I'm excited that we're contributing to the conversation.
Sure. I thought you were the best guest to bring on this because I've seen you grow into your brand and like really fully embrace diversity and inclusivity and not just talk the talk, but like walk the walk and offer lots of good education to other photographers. So, yeah, thank you so much. And so, we're going to start off with what does diversity and inclusivity look like to you, and why is it important when it comes to your photography?
So, as a photographer, we are image makers and there's a lot of different kinds of people out in the world, and the issue that I've certainly noticed, and I think advertising is a great example of this, of just the things we see in magazines or on TV, in the movies even, is that there's a certain type of person, I'm talking like cis, straight, white, thin, young people generally, who tend to dominate the media. And I mean, that goes even deeper into like power structures and class and all of that stuff too. But I think, it's now 2023 and we know how diverse the world is. And there's so many people that are creating, like photographers are creating businesses out of their passion. And the fact that we still don't really have enough of a representation of certain groups of people, I think, is an issue. And we need to bring light to what that entails, because it's one thing to say like yes, diversity, but it's another thing to actually do it. So really actively promoting inclusivity and just showing like what it looks like to photograph different types of people is inspiring for those groups, because if they're not used to seeing themselves, it makes them not want to either value photography in general or just not want to work with certain kinds of people. And yeah, I think it's a super important thing to represent everybody. So it's not just like, I think race is a very visible example, but it could be your gender expression, your age, your like body size, even abilities like physical or mental abilities. There's a whole spectrum of inclusive, like inclusive representation that could be put into that category.
But so do you think that mainstream photography is diverse enough today, or what improvements do you think that need to be made?
I don't think it's diverse enough. Like, okay, here's a good example of I thought it was doing better, and it probably is compared to a few years ago. Like, change takes time, and I understand that. But quick example, I did a shoot with my sibling who's like out non-binary, maybe a month ago, and I was looking on Pinterest for some inspiration. I was like looking up just like queer portraits, or like non-binary portraits, and there was like maybe one page, not even one page of like solid results. And what I did see was very like stereotypical queer, where it's like rainbows done in different ways, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like when you have more creative voices adding to that like diaspora or whatever of imagery, it's gonna have like more than one look. So that was frustrating to see. And I was like, okay, well, there's definitely still a need for that. And even if you were to look up something a little more generic, like fashion photography, and you only see like a lot of white women, it's kind of, I mean, I think that in itself kind of shows you like how much is out there and in what proportion. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's still work to be done. Improvements. Yeah, I would definitely say like I think the race stuff is definitely getting better. I do see, especially with bigger companies, I see a lot more representation there, which is good. But especially, okay, I'm thinking like a lot of clothing brands still don't really showcase models of different body shapes, or queer models for that matter, or even just different, yeah, different abilities. I don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah, they're always just playing it safe.
What's that?
Said they're always just playing it safe.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because like I understand they're a business, right? And they're trying to make money, but there's no like their business isn't going to tank if they start including more people. It's only going to do better because now you have the potential to reach this whole other segment of people that previously were not aware of your brand. So there's really no downside.
Really take all my money. I don't understand why they don't want to be appealing to more people. But they're what it is that they're afraid that they're going to be isolating other subset of people who in reality these days are such a small subset of people. And so why are we still doing
Yeah, I agree. And the thing too that's like I guess for say paid models or actors in particular is like you choosing to hire them is not putting down other people. Like they're still those other people are still going to get other opportunities. It's just allowing them to have more of a shot at building their career and having an income, which like all of these things related to diversity and equality are tied to money primarily, so like and power, right? So like they're all kind of like intertwined. So yeah, it makes it tough when like it's not just the emotional side of representation, it's also like a very economic side of it too.
Yeah. Um I really try hard to go out of my way and find models that are not represented in the mainstream media a lot. And I don't know if other people make that same conscious decision or even notice, like on Pinterest, that when they're making these boards, that it is all white people just because they haven't been taught to look for that stuff or to know that inclusivity is something important as an artist and like diversity is important as an artist. So what type of efforts do you think other artists should be making to be inclusive in their portfolio?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do that. And I'm just going to go off of like what I've been doing that I think works. Like you said, those seeking out those models that you don't typically see is a good one. Like a lot of times models are looking to build their portfolio so you can do trade shoots. And I think just yeah, offering them something that works for both sides. Like it doesn't have to be a huge commitment of time or energy. Like okay, so for people listening or watching, like you and I have done a couple collab shoots with like black female models, which has been awesome. And it hasn't been a huge like to do, you know, it's been very casual. We have a lot of fun. We get some great shots. The models love it. We love it. Like I don't know. I'm sure some photographers have their reasons for not doing those types of shoots, but I do think if you don't already have the portfolio that shows a diverse range of people, that you should be seeking out those shoots to start just yeah diversifying your portfolio. Like literally it's you're not going to attract those clients if they don't see themselves in your portfolio. It's that simple. So and the other thing that has me thinking about it too is like the representation, at least in my experience, also comes through the circles of people that I'm like my network, right? The people I talk to and are close with, you know, want to shoot and understand like what I value as a person. And to me, these things are so intertwined between like equality and oppression, diversity, representation. Like they're all kind of part of the same conversation. And I'm imagining being on the other side, like say I'm one of these marginalized groups and I'm not, I'm not seeing a whole lot of representation. I would want to work with a photographer who gets it, like is not just working with the same types of people all the time, because there is an element, at least like I said for me, in what I'm doing, that is like, I guess you could call it activism. It's allyship, like it all goes together. And I think it's helped me book some of those clients because they know that I actually understand at least like a basic level of some of their experience, and want to learn and understand what it's like for them. Because like, I guess one of the trickier things for me is like, I'm not somebody who identifies with these groups personally, so it can be kind of like a little hesitation, I think, from people at first, unless I really put out there like, hey, I hear you, I see you, I understand some, like of what you're dealing with. So try to at least put that out there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people get intimidated, like if they don't identify with certain subsects of groups, like you said, and they just kind of wait on it to happen, or yeah, they wait on it to happen. They're not necessarily like opposed to it, but not seeking it out, or like being like, I don't know what to do. And but so I think it just starts with trying, and like people notice when you try and you're actually trying to represent them. And like you said, there are those clients out there that think it's super important to work with someone who gets it. And I know at first when we get into photography, especially in the business section of it, we really try to expand the amount of people that we can serve. And that's because out of survival, of course. But as I don't know, as you and I have kind of like navigated this industry, not working with those people who care about our art has been actually harder for us to do than to just accept anyone who like really doesn't care so much about the work that we're doing and like the efforts that we're making. And that's totally fine. Everyone is welcome in my brand, in my photography, but finding those ideal clients who do care make being an artist worthwhile.
I definitely think, like, at least for me, now that I've been a little more vocal consistently about it, it has attracted more of those ideal clients, even if they're not like non-white people or whatever. Like, even if it's not ideal in that sense, or like not diverse in that sense, I still find that people can get a good sense of like what my brand is about regardless. And if it's a turnoff to them, then it's no loss for me. Like, I don't want to work with them anyway. So yeah, I think, yeah, the fulfillment that you get from the right type of clients, I think, is something that you can't put a price tag on that.
Definitely. And it's worth those free shoots that you're doing. It's worth building that portfolio. It's worth like putting it out there, and like people even commenting or messaging you and being like, this really spoke to me, this connected with me, or I've never seen like a Black person in this kind of environment, or things like that. And it just gets easier once you finally start and just do it. And it's also a good skill to have, like to be able to photograph every kind of person and every type of love and every type of ability, and just familiarizing yourself and challenging yourself as a photographer is just so important, aside from even just being inclusive and diverse.
Yeah.
So I think it just starts with portfolio, and then just talking about it, being active on your story, like not just photographing one interracial couple and calling it done. Like,
Yeah.
not putting BLM in your bio and saying I did that. Done.
The black square.
Right? The black square on your feed. I'm finished. I did it. I'm an inclusive photographer. Like, it takes work. It takes effort, and it's worth it. It's worth it for your own, even like mental health, and like being like, I'm not just doing this as a cog in the machine. I'm doing this because I love it, and I want these people to feel a good feel good about themselves. Like, I loved how you wrote like that you're an empathetic photographer. Like, that is so important to connect with people, because it's not just taking pretty pictures. Like, these photos will bring hopefully confidence to that one person and others for past your lifetime, I hope. So, what are some struggles you've had when prioritizing diversity into your photography business?
So there's a few different things. I think the most visible one is just feeling like I have a good like representation of diversity in my portfolio or even just on my social feeds. Like I said, because I'm not someone who identifies as any particular marginalized group, I still book a lot of like cis white clients, which is fine. But I'm trying to be cognizant of like not overly promoting that or not letting it flood my portfolio too much. So just trying to make sure there's a good mix of things so that people feel seen, especially on my website too. But I would say like the stuff I really struggle with is finding the right balance of like, am I doing enough to feel okay with myself in the way that I'm promoting inclusivity? And I guess, like I said, that kind of goes into that like sort of activism that comes with it, where I'm like, I want to speak up for these groups, but I don't want to get overly political because people will take it the wrong way. But at the same time, it is kind of inherently political just because of the way like society is, at least now. So it's a weird balance. I think I feel a little more comfortable the more that I do it. But yeah, just trying to like every so often remind people like, hey, there are real problems associated with some of these groups, real struggles that they have, and it's important that we show them because we need more than one story. Like, we need to hear everybody's voice. We need to see their face and understand that our world is a much more diverse place than I think a lot of people are exposed to. Especially if you don't live in a city, it's kind of hard to understand some of those things. So at least social media or like the internet in general can offer another outlet to see, what it looks like for other people.
I definitely identify with feeling that struggle of making sure that like my portfolio appears diverse enough, and like we showcase every kind of possible marginalized group, um, as much as I can. And like you said, growing up until I was 18, like I barely was on the internet because I had a sheltered life, but like I didn't even know that being gay was something I could do. Like, I didn't grow up with these gay characters in TV shows or um, anywhere else, magazines and whatnot, in the media in general. And so just like that alone drives me to be like, look, I need, like, so no one's gonna make that. I'm gonna make that then, like I'm tired of not being shown in the mainstream media because we're pretty cool people, and we deserve to be there just as much as the white colonizers do. So but I also wanted to circle back and challenge you to say that you indeed identify as a woman, and that is a part of the marginalized groups. And so I think that you do see it from a different perspective and a different lens, and like that there is more out there that is not being told. Like, the stories are not being told, like you said. And
That's
everyone has their own unique life, their whole entire life. And that's crazy for me to like process. Like there's 7 million people in this world and they all have a unique kind of perspective and a unique journey. And we're not getting told those stories. Like we're getting told like 2% of them, if that.
Yeah, that's very true. I do think about a lot like the people who were speaking up in 2020 when all the protests were happening, and like, and I guess this is like very specific to the US for the most part, but when there was that whole like awakening, and I don't know, I'm curious where other people are at, because except for maybe like a couple people that I can think of at the top of my head, like on my social, like just who I follow online, I can't think of many that are still talking about some of these things, and it just makes me question, like, if you're not doing that, like, what else are you doing, if anything, to continue to, like, be part of the positive change that's hopefully happening? I mean, it feels like it's underway, but I don't know. It's like sometimes one step forward, two steps back kind of thing, too.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people think that it's okay to just do the bare minimum. And like, yeah, I appreciate the bare minimum. At least you're doing something. At least you're reposting that thing on your story. But I do, like, I agree. I don't really see too many people who are actively talking to or talking about the issues that we need to hear about, like diversity and like that big, like the civil rights issue within the United States. Is civil rights the right thing? Yeah. So, I think that we do have a responsibility as artists, as creatives, as people with the platform to be talking about these things. And the more that we maybe slowly progress towards this mindset, though, I think it'll benefit those people who are doing the work now in the long run. Like, not to say that we're doing this to get any kind of benefit out of life, but like more so people are going to start noticing. Like if you're not talking about it, you're not talking about anything important, it becomes apparent after a while, like that there's no substance. And that's fine if other people want that, but we're going to be attracting those clients and those people in our lives that, you know, want to get involved and help us fulfill that responsibility as artists that we have. So, I think we put a lot of responsibility on ourselves as artists to like really make a lot of change. And I don't know, I do know, but I don't know how to balance that with like burning out in my everyday life. And so, I also feel that struggle as well, to be like, I'm not doing enough. I am like, there are other people who are reaching other larger audiences. Like, no one cares about my little story. No one cares about this. And I just, at least for me, I try to like just twist it and be like, you know what? If it helps one person, I've done my job. And if that one person is even me, I've done my job. You know?
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it too. Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts on this. One of them I have to remember is like a lot of times, okay, I think it's very much more common to see creators of like X marginalized group talking about these things because it affects them, and like I follow plenty of people who do that, and that's fine, like I get that, but the issue of making actual progress or like significant progress is that it gets kind of stuck in those little echo chambers because it's not going, the messages that they're trying to spread are not going beyond their circles of influence. And for me, like I feel like I kind of straddle like those marginalized groups and like the people who don't know about it or like are kind of, I don't want to say ignorant, but I guess ignorant. Like, you know, they don't know like what's going on. And to hear it, I think the likelihood of, if they're not interacting with those types of people to begin with, they're not going to hear it. So that's why I feel like it would be much more effective if like more people like me got on board and started making this, like you said, a more normalized thing. Because I don't know, it makes me sad sometimes just thinking about like there's so many important causes that need to be dealt with still, and it just, I see, at least like on just the stuff I follow online, it's like the same, just like circles of people who all kind of identify within that group, but it needs to reach a larger audience to actually make some more traction. So it's tough, but yeah, I agree, like even if we reach one person just from posting something, like that's a positive change, and to be realistic that like we can't solve the world's issues
by ourselves, you know.
Dang it, we can't? I thought I had the weight of the whole world on my shoulders. Only Jas
Right.
could fix racism. Only Jas can fix homophobia. I have to be working 24/7.
Yeah, I feel that. It's hard too when you feel like you're one of the few that's like speaking up about these things, because you're like, hello, where's everybody else?
I need some help over
It's a team effort,
here.
right?
Like, I got Lauren all the way in Florida, and I'm out here in Colorado, and I'm like, where's the allies? I need the help. But yeah, I mean, I know that we're not the only ones, and there are a lot more people that are out there who are either starting or have been doing the work, and so there's hope. I see the hope is on the rise. We are getting there. I just think that a lot of doors have to be open for other people to realize they can go through them, and a lot of them stay closed until someone brave enough to do it opens it. And so it is what it is, and we have to be the pioneers of it all. But I'm happy to do it. So do you have any cool projects coming up or goals for the new year? And how are you combating burnouts? Because mental health is important.
Yeah, burnout's such a recurring theme. Projects, yeah, so I think it's actually a good thing that I'm not like super booked for the early part of the year, so I can get to some of these projects that I've been putting off for a long time. One of them that has been like weighing on my conscience so much lately is to do more like weird artsy concept shoots. So I had seen another girl that I follow and you posting like, you basically kind of pitch a theme to clients on your stories. Like my plan is to put together some vision boards, maybe locations if it applies, but give clients an idea of like, this is the type of thing I want to shoot. You can sign up, possibly a discounted rate. I gotta see how it goes, but it's like, hopefully it will be a win-win where it's, okay, I get more of the portfolio work I want to get that is a little more like avant-garde, and then the clients get something that's really unique and fun and interesting and weird and like just not something you normally get with a photographer. So definitely want to prioritize that, because I feel like, for example, just being very wedding heavy lately has made it difficult to push myself creatively, and I don't want to be like unmotivated or uninspired as an artist, because that wasn't why I got into this type of work. And I really need to do those shoots that are like filling that cup of creativity. So and weddings, like, yeah, you can get creative, but you're also on super limited time constraints, so it's hard a lot of times. So yeah, so there's only so much I can do there, but at least the concept ones, it's like you can really plan it out and take your time and like execute a vision, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, it's, your creative work is awesome and like so inspiring. I'm glad that you're gonna be focusing on that, and like, you're right, you know, when we're working weddings or just like gigs, it's kind of hard to like really push ourselves, and but then like doing these creative shoots in the off season get to like help bring that spark to our jobs. So I think that's super awesome.
It's funny. I think it's been like so long since I've done a shoot like that I don't even know if people, at least who followed me recently, know that I do that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's been like a year, I feel like, since I've done like some really creative stuff. So
I don't think that's true.
hoping
Go
people
to
just like
at
okay.
L Lauren Show.
Huh?
I was like, I don't think that's true.
But you've known me and followed me for a while, so I feel like most of my stuff has just been like wedding.
I guess I see it, but I do follow you very closely because you inspire me very much. But I do see a lot of creative stuff on your feed, so don't worry about it. Don't get imposter syndrome that way.
I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, but and then to answer your second, yeah. Sorry, say that again.
I said, yeah, don't burn out.
Yeah, I have to answer that question. That's a great question, and I definitely can admit I have not mastered that yet. I know a lot of it, for me, it goes much deeper, like, emotionally, and realizing, like, choosing myself and choosing to rest is productive and is, like, as valuable as doing work. And I've had a hard time, I think especially as an entrepreneur, it's just like having that responsibility on your shoulders, at least for me, really exacerbated my work ethic in the sense of like, there's no one telling me when to stop, so I'm just gonna keep going, basically, which, you know, is problematic. So even the past couple days, I think I definitely hit a wall, but I'm getting, I guess, better at recognizing like the signs of when I need to slow down. But yeah, I mean, okay, so like ideal world, me conquering burnout would be scheduling off time in my calendar, which I used to do, but I think I need to get back to. But lately I've just been trying to take like small breaks, even like 15, 20, 30 minutes during a day to just kind of like get away from the computer, do something else for a little bit, just reset. But honestly, like even just taking a full day in a week, I think would be good.
You deserve it. You deserve the time off, and not even to look at taking a break as productive. You could just take a break just to take a break.
Yeah. What have you been doing for burnout?
God, you know, I like to play my little Switch Animal Crossing game because I do feel like it is, again, low-key productive. Because I'm like building my island, you know, like building the aesthetic of it all, collecting all the furniture and like making it look exactly how I want it to look. So like it's a little creative outlet for me, and my girlfriend likes to play her Switch a lot, so like we'll just sit next to each other and play Switch. So I think that's been a good one for me. I am pretty good at scheduling days where I'm not gonna work, but I'm also not, I like with the days that I am working, I'm working like 12 hours the whole day. And so that to me, I don't know, maybe I need to find a balance, because I'll be like 3 days of like no work, and then I'll be like, oh my God, I haven't worked in 3 days. I gotta go. No stopping. Nobody talk to me. And so I think, just finding a balance is so crucial, and just learning how to be our own bosses and like being nice bosses to ourselves. Talking to ourselves like our own best friends is very important. So, you know, find something that brings you some joy, and run with it. Like I thought TikTok was bringing me joy for a little bit, and it does. It does. So like gives me 20 minutes of mindlessness. But then I realized that after that, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't made a TikTok video in a week. And then I start stressing out. So I wouldn't suggest socials or anything. It's just logging off and just like getting away and allowing yourself that space to just decompress, and and do your favorite thing. Like just not be a creative for 1 second, you know.
Yeah, that's true actually. I guess I do. Okay, I will say one thing I'm doing right is I give my mornings like to non-work things. So like most of the time I'll wake up, have a chill like little snack, coffee in the morning, listen to podcasts, and then I'll go work out. And then maybe like do an errand or whatever on the way home, shower, get a good meal, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to work. It's usually like 1:00 at that time. So yeah, that's been like a nice way to just start the day and that's like my therapy in a lot of ways. So I feel refreshed and ready to go after that.
I think a good morning is essential to a good day. Like, if you don't give yourself the time and the space to just like focus and just like get back to it, like the rest of your day is not going to be great. Like running around to get to your 9 a.m. job, and like I woke up at 7:59. Like, that's a lot. So grateful for where I'm at. But yeah, that is one thing I've started doing also is to just like write out the tasks in my day, because I feel like as a creative I have so many ideas and so many things I want to get done. So I'm like, no, you are only getting these 7 things done today, and these are realistic things. And also, like, I'll put like laundry on there. You know, so I feel like I'm doing something productive, even though it's not for my business. Like, hey, I did my laundry today. That's awesome. You know, I got it done. And that gives me a little bit of structure that you need to not burn out. So that's been helping me. But thank you for coming. I think we can wrap it up. Where can everybody find you, Lauren?
Sorry, say that again?
So where can everybody find you on the internet?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay, so my bad. So I am at Lauren Shoepfer on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and then Lauren Shoepfer Photography on Facebook.
Easy enough. Please go follow her. She's amazing. She inspires me every day. Creative shoots, weddings. Hire her for everything. Central Florida and the globe. We've been to Paris together. Take us to Iceland next. This video is sponsored by Iceland Air.
Love it.